sign of desperation.
Buildings were put to test when two youthful anti-corruption crusaders beat the tight security at the premises and entered with two piglets. The piglets painted yellow and tagged "Yes MPs, corruption constituency." The youth unleashed the animals in the main parliament car parking lot. Butambala MP Mwanga Chivumbi, alongside with fellow opposition MPs, backed the action of the youth, saying they were frustrated with what they said was bad governance.
I mean, these are brave Ugandans. That's the way to go. If the budget is bad, on behalf of all and the people are feeling terrible and bad, they must express it. That is non-violence.
But what was quite interesting was that the pigs were in yellow. I think this was the writing on the wall, so that people who are in yellow can understand why the symbolism of a pig was brought.
And you remember in the Bible, the devils, they were chased and they ran and entered into the pigs. Therefore, as a member of parliament, I am quite scared.
Parliament combines all people of different religious affiliations, including Muslims. If you have any discontent, the way to go is not to bring pigs here. You can find another form of demonstration.
Security officers at Parliament are now in panic following this incident. This raises concerns on the safety of lawmakers, staff and visitors at a time when the country is on high alert following double terror attacks in the neighboring Kenya and threats from the Somali-based Al-Shabaab radical militants.
On a very serious note, if pigs can successfully penetrate and beat the security circles of Parliament and are landed in the parliamentary precincts, then our own security in this institution is wanted.
It's not clear how the youth entered Parliament with pigs in a place where visitors are thoroughly checked at three main entrances. The parliamentary police was recently upgraded to a full police station with additional police officers. In May 2013, civil society protesters in Kenya camped outside Parliament with about a dozen of piglets and also sprayed blood on the tarmac to show their anger at the newly elected MPs who were demanding higher salaries.
Now, the people who brought a pig here, of course, are not satisfied with the sole candidate.
They wanted to portray MPs as greedy politicians, sucking the taxpayers dry.
Each of them had been given 105 million to buy a monster car, each of them. By then we had 300 plus MPs. So I shared my story with my colleague, and I said, was this justice? But to say, the same month, China had executed over 500 young people for drug trafficking. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs, one renowned rich man, Sam Kutesa, couldn't say anything. But to say none of them was addressing the problem of why these young people were sneaking and trafficking drugs. And they let them be hung in China. In fact, as we speak, China has over 5,000 young Ugandans in their jails, just pending, pending execution. So when we shared the story, when I shared the story with Mayanja Robert, he said, what else can we do? Because our space then had been shrunk as young people. So we took on, as the reporter says, it took us some good time. We wanted that if we cannot do anything beyond shaming and naming them, then we wouldn't have any reason to live. So the plan to paint the two piglets was put on paper. But that's the best mean we could use creative activism to widen our space. And so we did. So we painted these two piglets to symbolize the greed and selfishness amongst our leaders because of the amount they had spent. And I want to say, indeed, we did execute as expected. So it takes us back to why I drew this, because I always like having my presentations in a practical way so they can be understood. So when I share the story, my story and his story, it became a story of us. So when we share the same problems and we share the same common factors, like you see this intersection sets. So these forces keep bringing us together. Just like The Ugandan problem now, Tanzanian problem, and Kenyan problem when it comes to governments shrinking our space. So eventually, the forces of these two stories compress and becomes one circle. So it becomes a story of all of us because we share the same problems. So indeed we share these same problems as a region, but also to say as a world. Whole globe have the same problems. After you have shared all these, so it takes you back to this explanation. I always like so much. But at one point, a human being never exists. At one point, we all know. So when we exist, that's why there is space like blood at point A. So you begin to exist. I call it living. You breathe, your heart beats. So me, you, and the rest of us are now in three. It's 3 in 1. You have the body, you have the mind, and the soul. Right? When I discussed with my colleague and so many other members that we now have as the alternative youth movement, I told them, all we do on earth are on stage B. If you would not do anything here, little will be known about you when you are here, when you have left. So you live, so here you are too complete because you are 3 in 1. You have the soul, the body, and the mind. And this is how I convinced, or this is how we do our trainings and convince young people to be part of the movement. So that when we have left, when you transit from living and you are here, you are likely to live either positive legacy or negative legacy. Yeah? And you can't live any of these unless you are an activist. So when you become an activist, this is what happens. The word activist, which I'm sure that Action Aid is an international movement, and you can never be a movement without being an activist. It's factual, as the day follows night. I don't want to look like a teacher because there's a professor here, so I want to limit my teaching skills. So you have an activist. But below this word, we all see that there is a word to act. Right? But then, you can activate. Right? But also, you can also become active. Right? And then, an activist. In fact, there is even activism. And then you will have defined. Meaning, if you are not ready to act, when you act and activate, then you have action. If we do not have this, whatever we are discussing here will be, for lack of another word, will not have any impact. And that's how I shared my story with the colleagues, and we are continuing to build activism. But activism has also 2 sections. It can be violent, it can be non-violent. Time for violence is long gone. So we do creative and non-violent movement building. I brought this to say, and also to match with what the professor said, I think some other gentleman, about how we connect with the people, with the public. We need, in my view, to share everything we have at heart with our communities. If you remember the story of self, because once they share a story with you and you share a story with them, so they will understand what Action Aid stands for. When Action Aid Uganda was closed as My Result and others, of course for supporting us as a social movement, so many people in the country demonstrated because they understood what Action Aid Uganda was doing for them and for the government. These citizens can never be with us unless they understand what we do, what exactly we are. So connecting ourselves to the citizens. and which has been done in my country. That we do so much to connect with them, but of course it's not a sure deal that they would understand, because it's also it's a two-way traffic. Some of them don't understand civil society because they see you or us as simply being the white, the West agents, like how our president calls them. Some Museveni will always say these are agents of the white. So changing this is by educating people. Professor called it citizenship training or education. We call it civic education. So one asks, how far have we gone to educate people about who and what we are? And until we achieve that, very little can be achieved. I'm still sharing the experience. And also it goes back to us. I always challenge young people when they say there are no jobs, and you ask them, but are we employable ourselves? I'm a product of a law school, but then you ask, there are so many students, graduates that don't even draft a simple plaint. It goes back to us. If we ask for accountability, are we accountable ourselves? I got an example of young people being employable. Are they employable? So are we accountable ourselves? Not simple about monetary accountability. It can be time. It can be at heart, because as we all know, just like government agents, can go home, does his accountability on paper, because they can doctor any document. That's not what you mean. It's also accounting to yourself at heart. It's what I'm doing, as important as what I would wish to be. So until citizens see us as being accountable to ourselves, that they will have trust in us. And therefore, once you call them to demonstrate or have any program you want them to participate in, they'll be with you, or they'll be with us. To say, we cannot also have all this unless we consider to hold the bull by its what? Horns. Yeah? Because in other countries, such agencies like Action Aid and other organizations mentor young people. Because it's also not important for us to lament, and then you see people take leadership. Someone said, if you accept fools take leadership, so accept even their foolish decisions against you. Because the wise people have considered to stay, away. How best does Action Aid or any other organizations mentor young people take leadership? Because, with due respect, if you have any members of CCM, just like if I was talking to people that belong to NRM, I would equally say, if I find NRM as a party in Uganda not matching with the principles of humanity, but then we can also look around universities and mentor a young person, and then this is an Action Aid or any other civil society organization's project that 10 years to come, these people will lead this country, and this is the vision they will promote. Than simply lamenting on TV, the CCM hasn't done this, NRM hasn't done the other, and we don't want media houses owned by the faith-based organizations. Simply also manipulate and suppress the already poor people. So, to me, Madam, we do not have, at least for me and our generation, there is no hope, because they are directly working with the regime, and that's how they also survive. So adverts will be 24/7 running, overnight, what, Thanksgiving, bring this, take my shoes, you be blessed, pay 100,000 to handshake me. That's what is happening in our country. I am not so sure what is happening here when it comes to religions.
It's almost the same.
So that's how capitalists, like Professor said, there is a big problem, a very big one, that each one of us wants to benefit from the other, no matter how limping the other person is. So no hope. If you had any hopes, maybe to pray for yourself. But I even doubt whether, for some reason, maybe that's why Jesus isn't coming back. Because I want to believe when he packs his suitcase to come back, and he watches those things like, Dad, I'm not going back.